Hey, your people better. April 18th, 2026. This here is a mix of AP flour, bread flour, and wheat flour. This is just all bread flour. The first one is my everyday mix for my general use, bread, etc., bread, pizza dough, etc. The other one here, the pure bread flour, is going to be specifically used for pita. And the reason is because I want to try to make my own pita bread. Now, of course, I don't have like all of the necessary super accoutrement or anything like that. But I I made some homemade hummus using some garbanzo beans. It turned out pretty well. Got me gassy as fuck, but whatever. And I'm like, I like hummus. But do I want to buy pita bread all the time? The pita bread I bought at the store was like $5. That's almost a bag of bread flour. So I might as well just make it myself. And then, of course, part of the establishing shot was some instant coffee. It's not perfect. Like, so the fun fact about instant coffee is that it's actually coffee that's being dehydrated. So like if you have your own dehydrator, you make your coffee, like let's say you make some cold brew like I did, and you just pour all that into a tray and stick that into a dehydrator. After a couple of days, it turns into this. And then, of course, making cocoa. So, cocoa powder. Because I like putting that in the cookies. I like putting both of them. Because like the espresso powder that I have is a puck. And I'm not exactly sure how to bust that open without going to extreme lengths or buying some kind of like very specific, like a spice grinder or something, which it might be something that I can, buy later in life. And then, of course, 5-pound bag of potatoes, because potatoes are amazing. And considering the state of the world right now, it might be a good idea to buy stuff that are cheap and filling. So you never know. So these will go up here because I'm replacing a lot of like stuff that just doesn't exist because of, I had to either get rid of them before or get rid of them after I got them out of the before the storage unit or after the storage unit. So, all right. So. With the potatoes, I'm going to go ahead and put them up here for the time being. You don't want them in the light because then they start growing eyes and then the selenium starts to increase as well. Or solanine. Solanine's toxic to humans. Now you can cut that shit off and it's not a problem, but minimize the amount that shows up. God, it smells good. It doesn't smell like baked bread yet because it's not baked. But it smells like fresh red dough. I should wash my hands here and do a little bit of kneading inside. I was going to let them autolyze, but I kind of want to get a feel for both of them at the moment. Wow, my water pressure is decent right now. That's nice. So the video that I had the other day, we got my door fixed. Again, who does this? But the electronic door lock, the batteries died, so they had to be replaced. And I'm like, what the fuck? It's a brand new building. Is that going to have to happen every 6 months? I don't know. We'll see. Now, the recipe that I have for this pita dough bread uses instant yeast, but I don't use instant yeast. I don't want to use instant yeast. But I will do everything else to the best of my ability regarding the cooking of it. And I'm going to use my cast iron for it. Because while you can only cook like one at a time when you do that, at the very least, when doing so, it can give you those nice little spots that a pita bread will usually have, the leoparding. The video that where I'm taking a recipe from, I'll try to throw that into the description. definitely the pita bread recipe is less hydrated. Now, I specifically chose this hydration for mine, though, because one, it uses less bread, it uses less flour overall. Because I think the one that I saw for like a sourdough that I used, I think it might have been Claire's version. I could be wrong. Hold on a second. I think it used like 900 grams, maybe 800 grams of flour, and I'm using 700. 100 grams over time does make a difference. So, but one of the things that I was mentioning about the whole like getting stuff taken care of in the process of it all, also I got my $750 gift card finally. So the first thing I did was try to buy almost $400 worth of stuff, and then I was like, let's scale it back just a little bit. Let's get some other things that were like kind of in the basket first type situation. So I've got some of the whittling things that are coming. I've got an Instant Pot, because as much as I wanted a rice cooker, I was like, an Instant Pot will probably be better. And so, where did I put you? Oh. So it's going to be slightly smaller than this. I think it said it was a 3-quart. This should be a 4-quart. I don't know where but that's fine. Because then I'll have, because it's a rice cooker, it's a pressure cooker. But it's a pressure cooker with like things that make my brain easier to work with. Because like, if you want me to crush up a bunch of frozen strawberries on my own, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to use this when I make a shake. Or, I'm going to buy a can of beans. I'm not going to buy dried beans. Like, I bought these dried fucking lentils, and I haven't done fucking shit with them. Because it's just, it's easy to forget, because they're not, it's also because, like, they don't take up any, like, visual space, really. And in so doing, they also don't take up, like, they don't pop out to me. And me say, oh, yeah, I gotta eat those. Get some water. Second. It is late in the day. It is after 10 p.m., I believe. I don't know what my clocks look like now, so. Oh, no. It's almost 10 p.m. It's 9:41. And of course, I spilled water on me. Well, I got towels galore. Did my laundry. And also, I checked earlier today. Tax return has been put into my bank account. So I got that money too. So those are, good. Problem is, I'm going to have to pay a full month's payment on fucking T-Mobile, it looks like. Because with the Tag Mobile thing, with porting my number, they're going to send me another SIM card, which whatever. I guess I should have asked about an eSIM, but I guess maybe I can ask them on Monday. But the problem is, by Monday, I'm going to have to pay for this bill anyway. So, because my payment usually processes on the 19th. Because, with going to the PT every week and then like being exhausted and shit, it makes it kind of difficult. And today I was supposed to do some things, but I forgot because I had forgotten. So I knew that I was going to go see my primary care physician to change my data and stuff and get some blood work paperwork taken care of. And there was a miscommunication with that, probably on my end. I'll take the blame for that, because they tried to get me to do blood work. And I was like, no. I'm not asking for blood work. I'm asking for the prior blood works paperwork. I'll pull this off of the new pan, the new 13x9. And like the nurse, when he came in, and when the either the other nurse or the other doctor. I'm not actually sure what her title was because it wasn't my normal PCP. But she came in there and she was asking me. I was like, "That's just a miscommunication." I just needed the paperwork. I got the paperwork good because it's for my psychiatrist. She wants to look at my blood work to see if maybe we can try what the hell was it? Well, genetics related pharmacogenetics, I guess, I think is the word, but genetics oriented pharmaceuticals, which sounds really fucking cool because she wants to kind of put me into that because like she's saying I should have already seen some kind of changes, experience some kind of like overall change with the medications and the timing and everything. And so she's like, let's see if we can, try some shit. And I'm just like, all right, fuck yeah. So I gotta go see her on Wednesday. And I was trying to figure out what would be the best day to go get the paperwork because they're not gonna just mail it to me. I've got to go there and get it. They're not gonna email it to me. And in some cases, you can kind of call and get, like add somebody to your, I can't remember what it's called. I used to see it all the time in paperwork when I worked at rehabs. And it's similar to like ROI, I think, but basically people who are allowed to be in communication with your documents. It's HIPAA related. Release of information, I think is what it was, which is why I think it's ROI. So you can release that information to other persons. And so like, for instance, one of the clients that I had worked with at the last rehab that I worked at, his lawyer was on the paperwork because it was like they were in the middle of a legal issue. And it was also, I think, a court-ordered rehab or something like that. I'm not sure. So, stuff like that. But when I ordered the car through the app on my phone, I didn't make it a round trip. I only made it a one-way. And it's a long trip because it's down in South LA. And I'm up here now. So it's like, well, fuck. And so I had to get on the bus. Now, granted, it did, give me the opportunity to go back to Smart and Final and get some stuff. I wasn't able to get the one thing I really wanted. So I got more macaroni and cheese because I'm going to need that at some point. These are going to be more cheese related because I want to do that again with effectively the proper amount of everything. It's the last time I used too many cheeses. And I got to try this one again. This one also uses cheese. So basically the next time I go back to the store, I'm going to have to buy some cheese because I have cheese with me. But I'm going to run out of it real soon. Mac and cheese. Although I use this for everything, including like pasta sauces and the like. But the one thing that I really want to use it for, I don't know what I was saying. Anyway, fuck it. Oh, bay leaves. I wanted to get some bay leaves because I don't have any. And they were sold out, which sucks. So I got to go back. I got to get some other stuff anyway. But I stopped off at the store. I was like, let's at least get a couple of things. Came back. Was taking care of a few things. Unfortunately, the Turtle WoW, and I might just call it RIP Turtle WoW. The Turtle WoW servers are going bye-bye. They've been running for approximately 8 years, and apparently whatever Blizzard is doing is significant enough that they're gonna cut it all. And I'm like, that's pretty shocking because I'm like, unless they because this server is really good. Like, I may have said it before in another video or two, but I need to reiterate it if I have. And if I haven't, I need to at least mention it. their custom content is so good. I don't know where the old world ends and the new world begins sometimes. Like, it's wild. So, like, not blood elves, but high elves exist. The difference, I don't remember much other than, like, I think the high elves are a little, they're not, like, it's something to do with the light and whatever, and the light being something else. But, like, I think the high elves are effectively, like, the first version of the elves. And then the blood elves are a corrupted version. I could be wrong. What matters, though, is that they've introduced high elves, and there's a high elf starting city. And it just feels like a normal starting area. Like, they took the ideas and they fucking ran with it. And they did such a good job. Like, you even get to talk to, like, one of the Windrunner sisters. I think it's actually Illyria. Is it Illyria? I can't remember. But, like, there's multiple Windrunner sisters. And I think Illyria has disappeared. And so it's one of the other Windrunner sisters. But it's just like, the whole place feels like it belonged there. And there's, like, even an opening that can go out into what's known as the Eastern Plaguelands, which was an old human region before the whole, like, before the events of Warcraft 3 happened. The Lordaeron area of the world of Azeroth, up near what's known as Stratholme, which was a castle. And castle, city, state, whatever. And then, like, during like the beginning of, like, the first human campaign of Warcraft 3, Arthas, you know, the sort of main big bad guy of the World of Warcraft, at least for a while anyway, he was a good guy. He was a paladin. And he was going around, like, trying to stop, like, necromancers and demon lords from, like, ruining his realm. The problem is that because he was so, gung-ho, it's kind of like if you look at, if you go back and watch the first Thor movie, where Thor is sort of very pig-headed, and he's very warmongery, and he's just very brash, and just, like, impulsive, impetuous. Arthas is very similar in the storyline, and so he doesn't stop to think about what might be happening, or what other forces might be at play, and he's not really listening to the people by his side. And so he starts to make a lot of fucked up choices. And the first real one is the first, like, big one that even, like fucking, Uther is there, you know, like, the super uber paladin. Uther has been with him the whole time. Uther leaves him. Jaina Proudmoore, she's there to sort of help out in her way. He helped sort of rescue her from certain circumstances, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, I'm out too. And the reason why is because he's going around killing everybody in Stratholme. Because the plague is spreading, and this plague is turning them into, like, ghouls and zombies and shit, basically, into the undead. And he is getting it into his head that he just needs to kill people first and foremost to eradicate it, to prevent it from happening. And so, you know, that is old, original World of Warcraft classic. And then they put what's known as Althalas right up across from a mountain range from there. And there's, like, this corridor between the two of them. But, like, it's blockaded, essentially. You can run through it if you're high enough level. But there's, one of the gates that goes into the Eastern Plaguelands, brand new corridor, didn't exist before. They carved it out through their game editing and whatnot, and then created, this defense force of high elves. And, it's like they're holding back the undead from coming in. And it's conceptually so cool. But unfortunately, again, like I said, like, because again, there's so much extra content. I haven't been able to see all of it. Because we only started, like my little guild that came over from EverQuest, we only started like 9 months ago. So, and what's funny is it was at the time of a new realm. So like there's new, well, I guess realms, there's like a PvP realm where it's like, okay, this is a server where people can get on, but PvP is on all the time. This one is known as PvE. This is player versus everything. This is basically player versus the computer. You can get into fights with other people if you want to, but for the most part, you will not be flagged as PvP unless you either go into a battleground specifically or you do it on purpose outside of, or you like buff somebody who is flagged, or you attack somebody who's flagged, etc. Well, they added another PvP realm to sort of like deal with the congestion, because there were like 10,000 people, not concurrently, but there were like 10,000 people who were effectively registered to the PvE realm. And that was the one that me and the rest of the online guild, the EverQuest guild, moved over to. We moved over to the big one, not the new one. But we moved over right after the new one was introduced. And so this new realm showed up. We hop on over here, and then 10 months later, it's going to be dead because it ends on May 14th. So that's a bit of a bummer. But I'm in the middle of downloading Final Fantasy XIV, and you get like up to level 70 for free. And, it's like, okay, cool. Let's see what I can get out of this. Meanwhile, I have like whittling stuff that's coming in the mail. I got some soaps that I can start on first, and then try to move on to the actual wood that is also coming. Like I said, I got the Instant Pot as well. Got some baskets, just 2, just for now. Just to kind of like have one for whittling stuff, and then the other one for who knows what. But yeah, like the financial situation it's no longer tumultuous, which is good. I just got to finish up the cell phone situation, move away from T-Mobile, but I got to have the port so that I keep the same number, because I'm keeping my number. I like my number. I chose my number, and I chose it with purpose. It's very easy for anybody to type in. And so, like, if I give that number to somebody, or if I need to type it somewhere, super easy. Barely an inconvenience. Oh, man. I gotta clean some potatoes and bake some of those. I'm probably just gonna make some mashed potatoes, which, again, we'll need some more cheese for. Because, like, I started watching this young man, this French dude on YouTube named Alex. And he was trying to recreate these like very specific like Michelin star mashed potatoes. And he's like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So he's using a potato, like a potato ricer, but like an old hand crank version. Because the new ones, you just like boil your potatoes and then you just push them through. Because you don't want to use a blender. And like he even mentions in the blender that starts to kind of gum up because you get too many starches. So you want them like, yes, you want starches, but you want to mitigate your starches when you're pulverizing your your potatoes, and then at the end you end up pushing them through a fine mesh sieve as well. And he found out that you had to get these like very specific, expensive, waxy potatoes, and I'm like, well, I ain't doing that, and I'm not peeling my fucking potatoes because I'm not a kid anymore, and I realized that the skins on the potatoes are good for you. Extra fiber, that's where most of the nutrients are. And so it's like, all right, well, we're going to do that. Plus, boiled potatoes, One of the things about like rice, potatoes, bread, all right, all of them have starches, right? And starch, as we understand it in a sort of a general sense, is that starches are a carbohydrate, and they're relatively easy to break down. They're a relatively simple carbohydrate. Well, the thing is that if you let those sit like if you let bread sit out for a day, like my bread, I usually eat within a 24-hour period. But staleness of day-old bread, the reason why that's happening is because of what's known as retrogradation. And now I don't have the breakdown of that. But basically what's happening is the starches are going from being a simpler sugar, a simpler carbohydrate, into a more complex carbohydrate. And when something is more complex, it's harder for your body to digest. So it expends more energy. And so you also don't absorb it as quickly either. So this is why, like, when people talk about high fructose corn syrup and all that kind of crap, and how, like, and even I fell for it for a while, like, high fructose corn syrup is not the devil, okay? You're not consuming straight fucking high fructose corn syrup. You are, in a sense, when you're drinking a soda, but sugar doesn't fucking matter because the amount of sugar that you're consuming is still you're still consuming a significant amount of simple sugar, simple carbohydrates. So if you want to reduce the amount of sugars in your life while drinking something sweet, you can get something like this, like these. This one is just flavors. This one is flavors with caffeine in it. Now, is this the soda? No. You can get a soda stream or something similar if you need. Is it the same? No. Do you absolutely need a fucking Coke in your life every goddamn day? Okay, listen to what Mama Cass said and say, okay, I know this 20 ounce Dr. Pepper is like 240 calories. That's part of my caloric intake for the day. I just got to put that in. And that's the thing about, the food health stuff. It's like, one, if you don't stop scrolling and start looking shit up, you're never going to learn anything. You're never going to start thinking for yourself. You're not going to learn how to critically think about the information that's passed on to you. And two, you're just going to repeat shit without actually having knowledge of it. And that's part of the problem right now with social media and the like. And so it's just like, okay, let's get back to basics and say, okay, calories in, calories out. Add more fiber, which most of us don't have. Eat more fruits and vegetables, which a lot of us don't get. And yeah, with the war going on, especially this specific fucking war, if it keeps going on, it's going to make things worse, including your fundamentals. And so you better learn how to fucking cook. Because it's going to get much more expensive. So learn how to cook for yourself because your food budget is starting to shrivel. But you know what? Also, every now and then, it's okay to just have a fucking caramel covered in chocolate and sea salt. Or put some instant cocoa or instant coffee in your cookies. Because that helps to improve the chocolate flavor. Just because it's wartime, and hell, another great video channel, Dylan B. Hollis, or B. Dylan Hollis. He's got 2 cookbooks now that are a conglomeration of older cookbooks. A lot of them are like Depression era or War era and all kinds of stuff like that. And the reason he's doing it, it's like, hey, this is fun, this is interesting. He enjoys baking and all that shit. Sure, he doesn't like cleaning because that's the worst part about all of it. But it's like, a lot of this information might become useful too. So, you can't play Turtle WoW for much longer, so maybe play something else. Have fun.